Are there any inherent risks to our children in our music streaming services? Let me tell you my story with Spotify. Up until this year, my family has been using Amazon Music for different music on our different devices. I only have one teenager who has a cell phone right now, so that's been pretty easy to manage. We do have kind of a family shared device that my younger children can use if they want to play games or listen to music. And so we installed Spotify in all those places. We heard that it had some really fun features for sharing music with friends and just kind of a more elaborate experience that was better. My older teen really liked what he saw that his friends were using, and he convinced us to give it a try. Imagine my surprise when several months later, my 15-year-old walks in the room and shows me a very pornographic and disturbing suggestion for a very erotic podcast, and it popped up in his suggestions. We were shocked because we had all those filters and parental controls put in place. We also had age limit restrictions for the type of things he should be listening to, content restrictions, but we could not find a way to control what was being suggested to our kids. I also found out that they have access to different shows and YouTube channels and all sorts of new streaming experiences that they did not have when it was just Amazon Music. I think it's really important that as parents, we become well informed before we just hand our kids a device, as I learned the hard way, and make sure that we're having those conversations with our kids so that when those things pop up, and they will, because with technology moving as quickly as it is, there's just constant changes and we have to be on our guard. And when things show up for our kids, they need to know they can come talk to us about it and we will help them and they will not be in trouble. We need to make sure we're communicating in our homes to protect our children. So, in an ideal world where we're trying to make this happen and we're trying to have healthy balance and healthy communication as we're trying to teach our kids healthy sexuality in this digital age, what does that ideal look like? So, in an ideal world, our kids probably wouldn't have headphones where they could block out what they were listening to from us, and they probably wouldn't have their own cell phone device until they were 16. That way, parents are more aware of what they're hearing and what their children are doing on their devices because it's just more open and it's less hidden. What about reality, though? What does that look like if your child has had their own device for several years? Um, we like things being quiet. We don't want the distraction. We like the headphones. We like everybody doing their own separate thing on their devices. Well, you need to understand that there may be a lot of things your children are being exposed to and you have no idea. So I recommend checking histories, checking filters, and asking your children questions in a very calm and understanding way, not to accuse them, not to freak out, but actually get a good beat on what's happening in your home. Some of your children may not even be interested or curious about anything of a sexual nature. They just they just don't really care. And some of them will be very curious and having all these different options thrown at them all the time and just giving them a little rabbit trail to follow can lead them down some really dangerous and dark paths. If you're not having open communication and teaching them what you believe about developing healthy sexuality, then you're letting all these outside influences dictate what they know and understand about it. And there's just too much dangerous and misleading information out there to leave it to chance. If this video has made you think that maybe you could make some changes in the way that your family is utilizing their technology, I have linked a free digital download in the description box that has a lot of resources from the Better Screen Time website. They have an assessment that your child can take to know if they are ready for a cell phone. They have a really wonderful workbook resource that my family uses to help teach my children about how to use technology wisely. And they just have resources for parents to help us as parents better understand this digital world that our children are growing up in and how we can support them. I am not sponsored in any way by Better Screen Time, but I really do love the resources that they have available to help me help my children have better balance. As always, you can find my book on my website. You can also schedule a guidance session with me or find my link to free resources about helping our children to develop and thrive in this digital world. See you next time.